Rachel. Please, can you start by introducing yourself?
I am Rachel Furman. I am in Los Angeles, and I'm really happy to be here. I have been dealing with stage 4 cancer for almost 7 years now. It's colon cancer that spread to the liver. Because of radiation, I got also a colostomy bag. So it's not just a condition, but also the disability around it.
Can you begin by telling us your story of your personal experience of disability or illness? Maybe take us right back.
So started in 2018. I'm laughing because it actually started 2018. I was in a trip with a group of artists. I also paint in, and I took a tour to Russia at the time when you could have still gone to Ukraine and Russia. And we went to St. Petersburg, to Moscow and St. Petersburg. And in the middle of the night, I got a phone call from my neighbor telling me that the fire marshal wants to talk to me, and because the big tree fell on my house. And I thought that was the worst thing that ever happened to me. But a month later, while I was dealing with construction and repairs, I got another phone call, and that was my gastroenterologist that said to me, did anybody tell you you had cancer? And I was like totally shocked. I had some bleeding, and I went to, I thought it just hemorrhoids. I thought it was nothing. And I decided to go and do a test anyways. And I waited about 3 weeks to get the answer. And I did follow up. I did call the office of like, what's going on? And he finally called me and he said, you got cancer. And I was trying to pull myself together and said, okay, now what? What's the next step? And he said, you better go and talk to an oncologist and a surgeon. And so I have a good friend who is a gastroenterologist. I immediately called him crying and I said, can you recommend anybody or someone? And he referred me to USC Hospital. Lucky me. And that's when the journey started. When I met with the surgeon, he said, that he cannot do surgery on me. The good news is that this is a cancer that can be cured easily if it can be operated on. The bad news is, in my case, it cannot be operated on because it was attached to the pelvic floor. And he suggested chemotherapy to shrink the tumor. And as a retired pharmacist at the time, my thinking was absolutely no chemo. There's no way I'm going to do chemo. But when he presented it as, okay, this is, a step towards something, I said, okay, fine, let's talk to an oncologist. And that's where I met my oncologist and started with chemo. Started with a journey of every 2 weeks, being in the hospital and getting treated. And got stabilized and got into this routine and started realizing that there are 2 ways of dealing with it. It's either all about, poor me having, cancer and needing to go to the doctors and needing to go to the hospitals and needing to deal with side effects. Or this is just like a job. I'm going to go to, I had a job as a pharmacist. I never liked it. I did it. I was good at it. But that wasn't my life. My life was my life, and I had a job. And I was like, okay, how about that? This is a job. I'm going to show up, and the job is basically the metaphor about it is that I needed a job to pay my mortgage to keep my house, right? And I was like, okay, my house is my body. My job is to go to the doctors and get the treatment so I can keep my house. So it was a perfect metaphor because I'm living in my body. And it was like, yeah, okay. And it turned out that that turned around everything because the house, the well-being of the house became a priority. I like my house really clean and really orderly and really beautiful. And I decided to do everything I needed to do to take care of that house. I'm not sick. I have a condition that I'm dealing with, but I'm not sick. Because once I say to myself that I'm sick, I'm feeling really bad. And to me, sick people are people that have to stay in bed or in the hospital. As long as I can, walk around, I'm not sick. I have a condition, just like, diabetes or high blood pressure. I still need to take medication. I need to treat it. It's not like I'm ignoring it. I'm not Pollyannish about it, but I'm not sick. So anything I can do, anything, I will do it. I live alone. I'm not married and do not have children. But I have a lot of people, a lot of good neighbors and fabulous friends and really people that care about me and they want to help. So after about a year, being on chemo and now one of the drugs stopped working and we needed to go for another drug, I asked my doctor, I said, what is my prognosis? And he said very coldly, he said, it's 3 years and you've already lived a year. Which means got 2 more years to go. And immediately my brain went into, it was like the F word. And I said, in my mind, I was like, you're not God, how do you know that? I immediately went into, no, that's nonsense. Not in my case. Well, that was 6 years ago. So I proved him wrong. And I think what has kept me here is a combination of things. It's the joy of life, not giving up the joy of life. What I said, before about I took it as a job, and then the rest of the time when I wasn't working, meaning not going to the doctors and not getting treatment, I just lived my life to the fullest. If it's traveling extensively, if it's going folk dancing, if it's going to sing-alongs and going to the beach. Almost every Sunday I go to the beach. Living in Los Angeles with the traffic, that's the one day that you can go. It takes me 25 minutes and not an hour to go there. And I go and I take a walk, and I'm just enjoy the beach in Santa Monica. And it's just having a really full, beautiful life and really enjoying every moment of it. There was another thing, which is, with cancer, there is blood tests every time you see the doctor, and you get results with your markers. And those markers go up and down, and And in the beginning, I paid attention that my mood changed according to the markers, but not necessarily exactly like that. And sometimes when the markers went down, which is a good sign, I wasn't that happy because you would think that I would be happy, you know. And when they would go up, I wasn't upset where you would think I would go upset. And I realized that it's my thinking about the markers. It's not the markers. The markers is just an indicator, a point in time, and they mean nothing. They just give a clinical fact. And that's all it is. But what really matters is how I feel. And so I've been with markers went up to 800, and I was feeling great. And I was with markers that were in the 20s, and I wasn't feeling great. So it really didn't matter. What mattered is, how do I feel? And if I'm feeling good, I don't care what the numbers are. Same thing with blood tests, you know, and I've learned, you know, like one time my CO2 was out of range, and I'm like, oh my God, my lungs. And I'm like, okay, wait a couple of weeks and see. And almost any blood test that is out of whack one time, then by the next time or maybe the time after that, I don't even talk to the doctor about it. I'm like, okay, let's wait one more time, see where we are. There's no need to panic. No need to panic about anything. That's another thing that I've learned, is that there's no urgency. Nothing, there's no rush. You can take a week off. You can take 2 weeks off. If the medications are working, it doesn't matter. If the medications are not working, it doesn't matter. And that's what my doctor's, assistant told me. I was like, oh, that's so true. It doesn't matter. One more week is not going to change anything. Take your time. It's fine. Listening to my body, listening to how I feel, listening to if this is right for me, listening to see if I'm tired or not. But even that is with a grain of salt, because a lot of times I feel tired or nauseated or in pain. And I'm like, okay, can we do this? Let's try. I go folk dancing once a week, and I love it. And I go in and I have neuropathy, and I don't feel my feet, and I don't feel the floor. And I keep on dancing. And I remember the first time that I joined, because, you know, I took a break during the corona, like we all did, you know, not doing stuff. And then they started again, and I went there. And it's 25 to 30 minutes drive to the place one way. And it's $20 to participate. And I went there with the thought of, if I only dance one dance, it's worthwhile for me, okay, for 3 minutes, right? How much is a song? 3 minutes, 4 minutes the longest, right? If they rerun it again. I said, it's worth for me to drive for an hour and pay $20 if I dance one dance. So I start dancing, and I hear my brain say, oh, this is too hard. You're gonna fall. You don't feel it. You're not feeling the floor. Oh, stop. And I'm like saying to my brain, shh, let's just finish this dance. We'll sit down after we finish this dance. And sure enough, I finish the dance. Music comes up for the next dance, and I'm dancing the next dance. And now it's another one and another one. And I'm dancing now 5 dances in a row, and I'm still dancing. I think by the 6th dance, I just sat down just because I'm like, okay, let's sit down, you know. And now I'm dancing for, you know, a good half hour, 40 minutes without sitting down.
Amazing.
Being present is maybe something that you know, maybe I can talk about it a little
Please,
bit.
that would be lovely.
Okay. So being present is one of the things that is very helpful for me. Because especially with the prognosis of like, you know, I'm gonna die. And you know, this thinking of like, is this treatment gonna work, and what are gonna be the side effects, and am I gonna be able to tolerate it, and how long is it gonna last? Because it's usually anywhere from 6 months to a year, if it works, till it stops working. That's how chemotherapy works. And I know that. And so I can live in fear of the future, of what's going to be, or I can just be present here. And when I'm present here, nothing matters. Everything is okay. I have everything I need. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And there's so much available to me. And I just joined a little 3-week thing, and they challenged us to commit to something for 21 days. And I committed to breathe intentionally for 5 minutes and to daily exercise for 5 minutes, because I know that if I'm doing it for 5 minutes, I'll do it more. And then what came to me is that it's not the exercise or the movement for 5 minutes, that I want joy in there, that I want to move with joy for 5 minutes. Because I move, I do stuff, but it's more of like an obligation of like, I need to. I want the joy, I want the fun of it. And so that's the part that I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds so much more appealing than just exercising for 5 minutes. That comes from being present. That comes from being connected to yourself, to listening to what is really something that is gonna bring my energy up. And that's another thing that I didn't talk about. Is I think that it's really, 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 really important for anybody who is dealing with any condition. And that is, pay attention to your energy. And pay attention to what brings your energy down. And that includes your thinking. And that includes people that are too worried about you, or things, you know, like the news or politics, or you name it. There's a lot of things that draw energy from us. And we know, we sometimes are with somebody and it's like, ooh, you know, doesn't feel good. Go, stay away, say no. Put yourself first. Take care of yourself first. I started taking care of myself. I say, first God, then me, then you. Okay? I put myself first. And people that don't like it, that's on them. That's not on me. And the beginning of my diagnosis, where, you know, there's the shock of the diagnosis, and it's really frightening. And I remember, because I'm that person that takes care of everyone. And everybody that has trouble or an issue calls me. And I remember saying to friends, don't call me with any issue. If you want to hear how I am, call me. If you have an issue or problem, please don't. And it took a while till I had the capacity and the bandwidth to start listening to people again. When I calmed down and when I realized, what I need to do in order to take care of myself. And now I do. I'm working. I'm taking care of people all the time. Again, for money and not for money. And till a point. And when I get tired, I shut off my phone. I take the day off. I disconnect. I pay attention to my energy. And I'm trying to lift it up. Anything that lifts it up. Okay? Is it music? The other day, I put some music on. And is it looking at beautiful art? Is it going to the garden, being in the sun, taking a walk, taking a nap, drinking and eating properly in time? Anything to make my energy really, really, really up. Really important. Really, really important.
So Rachel, finally, what do you think, or what have you learned that would be helpful for other people or families living with a disability or illness?
Oh, so many things. Don't look at it as punishment. Don't look at it as a verdict. If you can. And rather than thinking about surviving, think about thriving. Because for me, surviving is laborious. It's hard. Thriving is fun. Thriving is easy. So if you can thrive, if you can tell yourself, I'm thriving, rather than surviving, you're going to be so much better off. So much better off. Yes, ask for help. Yes, realize that you're not alone in this. Ask, and seek as much help as you need. Get support, professional and non-professional. Ask people, consult with people, if you feel like it. And know that as long as we are here, there's other possibilities. There's something else that is going to show up. And the other thing is look for magic. Look for magic. It's there all the time. It can be as simple as finding a parking spot. It can be simple as realizing that somebody you knows somebody that you know. It happened to me just this week. It's like I introduced a friend to a friend and they already had so much in common. That's magic. It can be a butterfly. It can be anything that happens. Somebody calls you out of the blue. A song comes on that you love. A friend brings, I have a very good neighbor friend who once in a while brings you flowers. That's magic. Or a muffin, That's magic. Look for magic. Not something, not $1 million in your lottery. But that's fine if it happens. That's wonderful. But the little things, a baby smile, just out of nowhere, going to the market and seeing a baby and seeing a baby smile. For me, that's magic. So focus on that. Focus on the magic of life. And be great, not grateful, but be in that state of, I woke up this morning I got out of bed. I can make myself breakfast. The littlest things that you do, appreciate it. Recognize it. Don't overlook everything that you do. And say, this is me. Look at me. I'm doing this. What else is possible? Life is beautiful. And I feel like I've given a gift. Would I have been wanting to stay stupid without it? Yes, I would have preferred to stay stupid without it. But I got it already. And look how much better my life has become because of that. In the light of that, I gained so much. I'm a different person. And that's it's not just black and white. There's a lot of light in the darkness. I love to refer to Rembrandt as one of my favorite paintings, where the little light that he has in his paintings shines through. The majority of the canvas is really, really, really dark. And the light is not even white. When you look at the painting, it's usually yellowish. And it comes through like a beam, and it's so beautiful. Look at that. Focus on that. Focus on the light, the brightness, the joy, the miracles, the gifts. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. That's so beautiful.
Thank you.